Hello! Welcome everyone to another episode of Minecrab! I'm BlueCrab2. Um, actually no, I'm BlueCrab2. I I don't know what you guys are talking. I'm definitely BlueCrab2. No, I'm definitely the BlueCrab2 here. Haha, so I figured out how to duplicate myself. Now you can see there are multiple BlueCrab2s. I have two different windows open with Minecraft, and they're both on the same server. So we've updated to Classic 0.0.16a_02, and Classic Server 1.2 works with this version, and that is actually the very first public server that is still archived. So we can now play in multiplayer. Now, I said we were going to stay in single player, but I might be stretching the rules here a bit. I'm in control of both the players, and importantly, they both have the same username, so maybe they are the same player. There's no check on that in the server in this version. But since we're in multiplayer, I wanted to show some cool bugs. Alright, one bug with this early multiplayer is you're not supposed to be able to place a block inside a player. I can't place it right here, but this isn't always perfect. If you have a player moving and you get it just right, you can place a block inside a player. So there you go. This player right here is now stuck inside the block. If I change perspectives, I am inside this block.
So now it's time to bring the BlueCrab 2s in multiplayer to the extreme. This is a short time lapse of me starting up all 32 instances of Minecraft. 32 is the maximum that the game will allow the max player setting to be set to in this version. I have rented the most powerful computer at my university's library to run this many Minecrafts. And funny story, the computer didn't allow you to run any random program, only a few pre-selected ones for education. This is obviously to stop someone from running a virus or some other malware on the computer, but I found that this limitation was pretty easily circumvented by just using the command prompt to start the program instead. So I was able to run the classic 1.2 server and Betacraft launcher on the computer, luckily. The user permissions should probably be updated on the computer, so. This trick didn't work on the OBS installer though, so I had to use Google Meet to record this. Even with this very powerful computer, running all these Minecrafts at the same time caused a very low FPS. Here's a congregation of all 32 of me. We're having a crab meeting. I then moved all but one of the BlueCrab 2s to the exact same location by lining them up against a corner of 2 blocks. I made sure they were looking in random directions, and you can see it resulted in this really funny looking combination. I think it looks like a Steve umbrella.
Now that we can play in multiplayer, there are some other additions we can look at. So we have chat that we can type in now, and this has the same rendering issues that the world level names did. So if I use the starting curly brace, you can see it's a big line, and the next letter is always going to appear in there, just because it has 0 width. And also there is the join and leaving messages. So if I pull this up, there you go. You can get the player name, join the game, and you can also get them leaving. Oh, there you go. And there's also the left message.
Another new feature that comes with multiplayer is this loading screen when you first join a server. On the top is the server name field that defaults to Minecraft server, and below that is the MOTD, or message of the day, that is set to welcome to my Minecraft server by default. Then there is also a loading bar that loads very quickly underneath both of those. The server name and message of the day can be changed in the server.properties file inside the server's folder. Here I set the server name to the alphabet in uppercase and the message of the day to the alphabet in lowercase. The maximum length for both of these fields is 64 characters. Any characters over 64 will get cut off. If a lot of those 64 characters are used on a long character like the tilde, the characters can actually go off the screen. Now on the reverse, the minimum length is 0 characters, and that causes nothing to display above the loading bar at all. Additionally, These text fields have the same rendering issue with the starting curly bracket that causes a solid line, since it's only seen as 1 pixel wide. But what's most exciting about this feature is we can use many new characters. With both the chat and the world name fields before, we've been typing in the game, and Notch has limited what characters we are able to type into the game, excluding even many on a standard keyboard, such as the @ symbol and caret. Those couldn't be put in. But now that we are typing in the server.properties file using a text editor, we have the ability to put in any character we want. Here are the characters on my keyboard that I was previously unable to put into the game, which can now be seen. Some of these characters have interesting behavior. The pike symbol has the same issue as the starting curly bracket, whereas no spaces in between the characters. The backslash will actually act as an escape character in the string, which we'll get more into soon. But it gets much stranger when we use characters that aren't even on my keyboard, but instead copied and pasted or even hex edited into the file. To explain which characters we can use, I will need to explain some basics of character encoding. You can use so many characters in modern text editors, from emojis to every Arabic, Cyrillic, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and so many other scripts characters. But how do you store those characters in binary? That's where character encoding comes into play. The Ascii, or the American Standard Code of Information Interchange, is the base of most modern character encoding. This basic character encoding used 7 bits to assign 33 control characters and 95 printable characters for the English alphabet in upper and lower case, along with many punctuation symbols. Eventually, computers settled on 8 bits rather than the 7 bits that Ascii had used, which gave 1 extra bit at the beginning of each byte to allow new characters. Because of this, many Ascii extensions were invented, using the first bit in different ways. A basic approach is to use the first bit to double the available characters, from 128 to 256 different characters. This is called high Ascii, and it simply assigns new common characters for the IDs from 128 to 256. This was a lot less standardized, and sometimes different standards use these numbers for different characters, which caused a bunch of confusion when transferring the file from one program to another. Now the more common extension of Ascii is UTF-8. UTF-8 uses the first bit to signify that the character at that location takes multiple bytes to encode. Since you're using multiple bytes, using this system UTF-8 can encode millions of characters, which are all standardized by the Unicode Consortium. The way Minecraft reads it is using the high Ascii system, where each byte correlates with a single character, meaning there's only 2 to the power of 8, or 256 characters we can put into the file. I've tested all 256 of these characters, and some have interesting effects. A spreadsheet of the exact results is linked in the description if you want to see for yourself. Most of the characters appear different in-game than they appear in the text file. The game uses this file for all the font rendering. These characters are in the order from left to right down of the alt codes for Windows. Alt codes are shortcuts that use the alt button in combination with the number pad to create different characters. The characters each have different numbers that must be typed into the number pad while holding the alt button. When the game reads a byte's number on the server.properties file, it will display the character with that number on this picture. The alt codes and high Ascii numerically match up for the characters on the standard keyboard, but they're different for any higher or lower. An example of this mismatch is for ID 1. In the file, you put the command character for start of a header, but in game, it appears as alt code 1, which is a smiley face. Here I am showing all the characters possible using the symbols. This is the first time we've been able to see these characters in the game. These characters include hearts, music notes, arrows, Greek letters, and mathematical symbols. It's awesome we can see these characters now. The character width issues continue with these symbols as well. Several of these new characters have width set to 1, creating lines if they're strung together. just like the starting curly bracket and pike symbol we saw earlier. Now also, all the characters with IDs 160 and higher have their width set to 0. So unlike the characters that make a line, with 0 width, the characters all overlap and are rendered in the exact same location. Here you can see if we put a bunch of different 0 width characters in the same location, it will render as a solid block. The final type of behavior you get from these other characters is what I call auto disconnect. If these characters are in the server name or message of the day, they will cause any player that attempts to join the server to automatically disconnect. There must be a problem with the client when it attempts to render these characters. It makes it impossible to join your server. This works for all characters from ID 128 to 159, with the exception of 129, which the server will set to a question mark. But surprisingly, the auto disconnect also works with the ampersand, or the and symbol, as long as there's no space before it. The two characters that have multi-character effects are the backslash and ampersand. The backslash is used to escape characters you couldn't put in otherwise, such as the line break. This means in order to display one backslash character, two backslash characters must be put into the file. The ampersand is fun because it allows you to change the color in the text. 0 to 9 and A to E following the ampersand will cause different colors, and any other characters results in the color being reset. In modern versions of Minecraft, this has been changed to the section symbol. We have now got extremely in-depth into the rendering of the server name and message of the day. I hope you all found that interesting. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing to keep up with the series. Bye!